Welcome back or to the channel, DrRoknRod and the S.E.E channel, and appreciate y'all being here tonight. And just hanging out here at the Loves Travel Center in Elliston, Virginia, here off I-81. I've got to go down into Roanoke and some other parts before I head back west and north. So last week I got back in and get comfortable here. I got back in Thursday midday, and truck was done. So I swapped it out, took the rental back, grabbed this. Everything got fixed. I think they threw a couple more new batteries in, did a health check. Everything turned out good. Everything's working great. I did a shakedown run on Friday. I did a short run in Michigan. And for some people, it'd be like, boy, that's like half a day's worth of work. If I work 8 hours or less, that's a half a day's work for me. So, just programmed differently than the average person. Like when you're a truck driver, you're working 14, your clock, your logs are set to where you can, how do I want to say, you're on a 14-hour shift. And some days it can be 16 hours depending on your loading and unloading time, where you're sitting and waiting. But, yeah, so 8 hours or less, and I don't feel like I've done anything. So the truck ran well. I checked it over when I got back to the rider shop to get fuel at the fuel island. No oil leaks off the valve cover gasket. And they called today, the shop manager called, and he was asking me, he goes, we were all sitting around at lunchtime and was curious, how's the truck doing for you? Because this truck's been in with a lot of issues over the last 19 months. And I said, actually, it's doing well. My fuel mileage is up better than the brand new rental. So I yesterday, Sunday, I was getting 8.9 miles of the gallon. Now that I pulled the hills today, I'm down around 7.6, 7.7. So it's all good, but we could sit, and I thought, let's have a relaxing chat tonight, as we could talk about last week. There was 3 trucking companies from Monday through Friday, 3 major trucking companies across the U.S. that have gone out of business. One of them had 600 employees, 400 tractors, like 1,700 trailers. That was was that Fuller Palmer or something like that out of Florida. There was a couple other ones. I think another one out west and one out of maybe Texas or Oklahoma. So a lot of companies are dropping like flies right now. And whether it's the carrier, the company itself, the carrier mismanaging the way they're operating business, or it's the market. And a lot of them like to blame the market, but I don't know. Hopefully they brought some consultants in. If you're looking to be reaching for a lifeline, to get a consultant in and see if you can save yourself, maybe cut some fat and streamline things a little better. Because I all know what consultants can do, because that's why I came back to driving truck after being out for 14 years in healthcare, getting laid off in healthcare twice in a year, 10-month span, because consultants come in and they're like, you don't need that person on the payroll, and out the door you go. So I see the chat's rocking here. Miss Laura, give a shout out on where you're from. Okay. So the big thing is, now that we've got Bluetooth and we got the smartphones, and you can stream and you reach out your availability to be entertained while driving, and when you're stopped at night, is more widespread than what I had back in the 90s. Back in the 90s, if you were lucky, you get a TV, and some of the truck stops back then, especially the Flying J's and I believe Petrol TAs, they would have poles where you could plug into satellite, or not satellite, cable. Tap in, run the cable cord to your truck, and you can, if you had a TV, you could tap in the cable and you'd pay a fee, or you could become a member. Or you can just have a regular TV with the rabbit ears on it and try to grab a local station. Or you just had a TV with a VCR and you just carried a boatload of VHS tapes, or as CDs came into play. Very different then to now, as far as in my travels and my days of the decades of being out here driving. Satellite radio didn't come in until the early 2000s. So in the 90s and the late 80s, you hoped the radio worked and the AC. If you had AC, that worked, and the radio worked, because either you were listening to every creak and squeak on that truck all day long, especially the cab overs. But when I was running just in Michigan for the first few years, that just to have a AM/FM radio that worked. When I got a nicer truck, then you got a cassette player. Ran cassettes. Now understand, back in the 90s, to have a cassette player, the cassettes, tapes, slide those in, far better than having CDs, because CD players back then weren't built very rugged to be in equipment like a semi truck or say construction equipment or anything, so the CD would skip. And talk about getting annoyed with that. They had the anti-vibration and all that for the CD players if you put a portable one in, or had one in the truck. They came a long way since then, but cassette tapes, and then late 90s I was going into CDs, and then now all these new trucks now like this, my Cascadia is a 2022, and even that 2026 International I had last week, you just get an AM/FM radio with Bluetooth and satellite radio. Like I said, in early 2000s, satellite radio came in, but you had to pay for the subscription. Some companies would use that as a luring technique to say, hey, when you come drive for us, we got satellite radio on our trucks. What else? A TV, fridge, and all this stuff. They tried to accommodate you with all the amenities to make it feel very homey while you're out on the road. Now it's like gaming consoles and all that. I've seen guys at places I've loaded or unloaded where they're in there playing Xbox or PlayStation with a big screen TV in the sleeper. I got my YouTube here. I got you guys. I listen to finance, investing, and economics. So I listen to a lot of different, if you want to say, podcasts from Jack at Nobody Special in the morning. He comes on 9 o'clock Monday through Friday. Live streams every morning, gives you the market update, what the markets are doing, future calls, and all that. Then, of course, I got Better Wealth. I got George Gammon, Economic Ninja, Dan and I Allegedly, Uneducated Economist. I go through them all, and I know when they're going to drop during the day. So, and then Rebel Capitalist with George Gammon's got his channel and the Rebel Capitalist. So, I really just try to wrap my head into things, because one day I'm going to be out of this truck and I'm going to be venturing into a different paradigm than what I'm doing here in grunt work, blue collar stuff. And that's the whole premise of learning all this stuff and investing into my businesses, so one day I can walk away from this and just type the keypad on a computer, click buttons, make money, and from the comfort of my home in years in the future. So route went well today. I put in about 600 miles yesterday, 580 today. Delivered yesterday, delivered today. I got a bunch tomorrow. A lot of driving. So outside of that, music, I do listen to music. Just wondering, what if you guys are driving, whether you're a truck driver or not a truck driver, what do you do to pass the time if you're driving long distances? If your job requires you to drive an hour or more, or if you go on vacation, or if you're driving across the country, what do you do to pass the time? What is it that you find entertainment? And throw that down in the live chat, because let's have a discussion on that, because a lot of guys get bored out here pretty easy. They're so bored. The new age drivers are so bored out here. I will literally go by a guy that will have his left leg up on the door with a cell phone in his hand driving a semi, which that's a few $1,000 ticket for him. I've heard up to $10,000 to the company, and of course dinging your CSA score, your safety score. So my phone is got a locking device, which I've shown you guys before down here. I've got you guys clipped onto my Garmin right now. The clip is getting weak and it won't hold to the visor. And then of course my tablet right here, that's all for the ELDs. So outside of that, I've got a lot. I had this gentleman down in Louisville, gave me some places to look on YouTube for independent musicians that are out of the Tennessee, Carolina, Kentucky area. And I've been listening to a lot of independent music and built up a couple playlists over that. And then of course there's all the traditional music. There's a guy here, another heavy haul RGN pusher axle with a cat. He's pulling out. I don't know if I can get you guys. Right there. He's right next to me, Big Pete. So yeah, he's pulling out. Saw a ton of these guys last week at the Petro, which is just down the road. See, I'm at 128 and that's at the 29. So yeah, 100 miles down the road. So anyhow, kind of surprised if he's going to be going much later. 4-axle. So big thing is what do you guys do to pass the time? Music. Do you listen to podcasts? What are you into? As far as any of that jazz. Yeah, spot's open, dude. Another guy. That guy hasn't even gone past the fuel islands. Another guy's jumping on that like flies on food. I got here a decent time. The parking lot is literally filled up. So I'll turn you guys around after we have a little talk, and we'll do some just watching people driving around here. And I'll tell you, last time I was here it was really crazy, and I'll point it out to you how they pack this place in. It's ridiculous. Where there's no parking, they make parking there. So, hey, Wisconsin truck driver, welcome back, man. I haven't seen you in a few live streams, but hey, thanks for being here tonight. Hey, what do you do passing the time out there? I mean, how long have you been out here driving? To like, I just reflected back that, starting from AM/FM radios, cassette decks, CDs, satellite radios, and now we just have Bluetooth only with AM/FM radio and streaming, music, podcasts, whatever. Over the, since the late 80s to now, in my tenure, what do you do to, to kind of entertain yourself? Because after a while, and I see a lot of guys with headsets on, a lot of guys are talking. I don't, other than my wife, everyone I know has a day job, so I just can't randomly call people out of the blue and start a conversation. They're busy. So, MX radio for me, right on. Yeah, I could do it in this truck. It has satellite, but I would have to buy the subscription, and I just don't want another added expense. Um, I got enough entertainment things built up on the phone. YouTube, I want to say, YouTube's probably my 100% main platform I'm on all day, whether I'm listening to all my channels. But even at night, I may find a movie in their movie section, free with ads and stuff like that. I watched the old Clint Eastwood movie last night from 1980, Any Which Way You Can, and so YouTube, I kind of fall on that. Facebook, I have really gravitated away from Facebook. I took Instagram and some of the other platforms off my phone to free up space, and I just don't really do much with that. I'd like to just take Facebook off, but because I try to put alerts out there for you guys through that, and yeah, you too. Yep, yeah, I definitely get it, and I just don't want to buy any, add any expenses out here. Just keep things kind of, low key, because if you're trying to make money out here, and the last thing you want to do is have a rolling expense, whether you're eating out, and it's funny, Alex from Mother Trucker, that's another one I follow. He keeps up with the news. The two big ones that have really been popping the news out lately is Bonehead Truckers. Ike over there is really been bringing the news in and following a lot of these, especially the immigrant accidents and fatalities that these guys have been bringing on. So he's been really covering it, and Alex at Mother Trucker, but at least they're bringing the news to say, hey, this is happening, and whether it's in freight waves but they'll give you the source so you can go look for it. But it's trucking news that you're not going to hear in mainstream media. And it's funny because a lot of the mainstream media does not cover a lot of those illegal immigrants driving truck and creating fatalities in most of those trailers. Amazon, so they're calling them out, and it's just good to hear that. And the thing of it is two of the entities that may join memberships on is the OIDA. They and American Truckers United is the other one that's been formed. What was that, out of Oklahoma? But they're all just fighting against, the ATA and all that jazz. But I may become a member of those just to help them support, because they're the last entities to really give us any fight, before we lose our trucking freedoms out here. So the ATA is just in for themselves because corporate owns, the corporate heads of mega carriers are basically running that show and running the FMCSA. So take FMCSA with a grain of salt, and most of the states' legislation that, even though the federal government said ELP, English language proficiency, but do the DOT in those states enforce that? California, is going to go against everything we want in our lives to make our lives better. California, whatever is going to make your life great going forward, California's mindset is do a 180, go the other way, because they're going to do everything backwards for you and make your life difficult. So that's California, and that's one state. That and the whole eastern side of New York City, they could just annex those off and just make them their own countries, let them fend for themselves. But a sidetrack there. But yeah, anyhow, music-wise, I got into some of the 70s and 80s music last week. So then I got thinking today, even yesterday, I was listening for a few hours of some old classic music. Could be some 80s hair band to, what else was I listening to? From Rat to Journey to Queen. Man, I remember in grade school listening when Queen, what was that, News of the World or something like that, and that's when We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions was on that album. I was in 5th grade when that came out, and man, I'll tell you that when Boston came out with their first LP, Led Zeppelin when they were still a band and touring and all that. So what do we got? The trucking radio on MX. Hey, I'll keep that in mind. I'm on a 34 hour at the Iowa 80. Only been in there 3 times. You know what? And I think you and I have probably been Iowa 80. I got a picture of my son in Iowa 80 when I moved him out. That was the last time I was there. Is July of 2021, and then I got through there 2019 and 2020. I went out there and stopped in there. Of course, when you go by, either if I was going on, I knew I was going to come back by there, but I'd always stop in regardless. And just to say you've been there again. But yep, I think I may have a video. I don't know if I ever done a video when I drove through there. I don't think I did. I may have just recorded it and sent it to my wife just to show her the magnitude of that place. But yeah, at least you're at a good spot. The thing of it is when I've done a 34 out on the road, I would at least like to be somewhere decent that has amenities to kill that time. Be close to a Walmart or some kind of retail so you can get, whether groceries and that, somewhere we can do some laundry, get out, walk around, and, feel safe being out walking around, either if you're walking a mile or 2 down the road, but, something like that. But when you're stuck out in the boondocks and you're doing a 34, you about go stir crazy sitting in the truck or just, with limited stuff to do. Or even if you just park near a beach or a lake or something like that, at least it'll give you something pleasant to hang out and do. So, can't pronounce Alfonso Milligan. Said hi. Right on, Alfonso. Thank you. I hope I said that right. Alfonso Milligan. So, I don't have my bifocals on, but hey, thanks for being here and being part of the chat. So, no, man, you should, hey, on the community post, though, Wisconsin Trucker, on the community post, now you can go to my channel, the S.E.E. channel, and you can post stuff. Take some pictures of the Iowa 80. Put your name on there and post it up on my community page there. And I unlocked it 2 weeks ago. And after they announced that, that's part of where now not only can I post, like when I post to let you guys, give you guys notification that a live stream's going to be kicking off, but you guys can also interact and I think post stuff on there. So yeah, take some pics around there. Are you going to go in and see the museum over there or any chance? Are you going to do anything while you're there in the 34 or just kind of be low key on that, and just kind of hang out and kill the time? So, yeah. So I took my son in there and we walked around the whole facility, but we did not do the museum. Didn't have time. I was on limited time. That little turd, when I moved, he moved from Michigan. He graduated from Grand Valley State University. That's where, I don't know if he's still the head coach of Notre Dame, but Brian Kelly, I believe. He went from Grand Valley, head coach there, took him to the GLIAC championship. Then he came over to Central Michigan. He was there when I went through CMU doing my degree in the early 2000s. Then he went to University of Cincinnati, then Notre Dame. So kind of funny how that plays. But anyhow, sidetrack. He graduated from Grand Valley, took a job in California, moved him out there. That little turd rented a damn budget Sprinter van to go across the United States. So I'm like, cool. I was out on the road, finished up. I got home Wednesday. We were leaving, was it Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. I got Tuesday night. Got back. We got in the truck Wednesday. I said, we're going to have to leave by Wednesday. Yeah, so I got back Tuesday. Wednesday morning, we're getting in the truck 6 a.m. I never got a chance to look at that moving truck, that Sprinter van. But that turd, there was no Bluetooth in that and no cruise control. No cruise control. Dude, I am moving you from Grand Rapids, Michigan to Anaheim, California with no cruise control. He goes, well, you're a truck driver, man up. Drive the damn thing. He gets in his car, rolls the window up, locks the doors, knowing I'm like, bust your ass, boy. I just like, seriously, if my wife could hear me out there at 6 a.m. in the morning, she goes, what is the problem? I said, fucker got a damn truck, a moving truck with no cruise. I can deal with the no Bluetooth, but I said, I'm going to have to hold the throttle all the way across this country. Luckily, the damn thing had a governor on it, and it governed out at 75 miles an hour, which benefited us once we got out to Iowa, Nebraska, and Wyoming. Everything was 75, 80 miles an hour out there. So there was a mudslide when we went out that time, that July of 21. There was a mudslide across 70, either by Boulder or on the other side of Denver. And the highway was shut down, and they had detours set up. And I said, well, screw it. So we went the high side, took 80 around through Wyoming, and he went bananas. He was like, dude, going across Wyoming, he goes, there's nothing out here. This is boring. We were talking on the headset, Bluetooth headsets, on the phones, and he goes, I am going crazy. I said, dude, I'm relaxed. This is cool. He goes, I don't know how you can do it. I'd go nuts sitting in a truck doing this all day. So, anyhow, yeah. But, yeah, we spent the night in the vehicles that Wednesday night, and then we rolled in Thursday night into Anaheim. And, yeah, we got a hotel. And then Friday, he checked into his new apartment. We took everything over, unloaded the truck, dropped the truck off. And then Turd had IKEA furniture delivered to his apartment. I ended up, while you're here, Dad, put the shit together on Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning. We did go down and get dinner and eat. We went down and hung out on Newport Beach. And then Saturday we had breakfast, finished putting furniture together. Then he dropped me off at the airport, and I came back. And then Sunday morning I was back in the truck. But yeah, if you're ever going to move outside of your home state, for me, from Michigan to California, make sure the damn thing's got cruise control at least. I don't know why a company like Budget or U-Haul or Penske, anyone that would rent a truck out, would not have cruise control. That was just ungodly. Just ground on me about that. But yeah, the truck did. I think that it was not a Sprinter. It was a Ford Transit, but it was like a Sprinter. It was a high top, but I think we were averaging like 19 miles of the gallon with it. It wasn't too bad. Probably that little V6 EcoBoost motor. But yeah, so last week I listened to some music, took a break from some of the podcasts. There's so much negative news out there. And that's the thing about negative news that you hear and things you see on the news, that I guess there are bad parts of America that have gotten worse. LA, New York City. There was one podcast that said the most violent city in the country right now is Bessemer, Alabama. And people don't even stop for red lights, especially at night. But even during the day, home invasions, car hijackings, and all that jazz. So I don't know what's going on there. So if anybody knows anything about that area, that was just kind of crazy to hear. But lots of shootings. I forget what they said. There's like how many fatalities and shootings. There's like multiple shootings every day in that little rural town. So makes you wonder. But there's a lot of negativity, and of course there's a lot of stuff that's just given to you, information. I don't want to say new. There's news and there's information, but I guess at the end of the day it depends on what kind of meaning you're going to give it. And walking away with that meaning of what it means to you in your life. But I understand there's bad parts of this country that we live in, and here in the United States, and we've had a lot of bad actors come in through the last administration that have ramped that up. But on the other hand, you know, a lot of this stuff, I just, the economic side, the negativity of the economic and the dollar collapsing and this and that. And I'm like, well, it depends on the meaning you give it. Depends on how you set yourself up. You know, make more, require less. So just, you know, don't buy into their system to keep going into debt. You know, a person could get a bonus. Say he gets a $50,000 bonus. And one guy, like someone like me even, would take that and say, I'm going to invest it. The other guy may say, you know what, I really want that new Lexus. So it just depends on, you want to buy into luxury items and liabilities, or do you want to expand your money and invest? Wealthy people in that, they invest. They don't go out and spend on things that, you know, your cars and your toys and that are not assets, they're liabilities. It gets to be when you have RVs and boats and ATVs, snowmobiles, whatever it is, like up in Michigan, you know, remember those start owning you, because then not only are they liabilities, but they are also a high maintenance item that requires constant working on to keep them in the condition to utilize them. So you're always working on your shit. And I said, that's what I don't want to be doing, is just working on my stuff. So I've gotten rid of a lot of stuff over the last 25 years and just been minimized down to where really the only things I work on the most is my house and the upkeep on my property, on my second property, in which I told the wife eventually we're going to have to let that go, because it's getting to be not so much costly, but it's eating up a lot of time that I could be utilizing in other, constructively in other ways in life, besides just trying to come home and take care of 2 properties and keep the house maintenance up. So yeah, it wears on you. So see, the chat's really rolling there. Let's see, who do we have there? Hey, I can't something carb, it looks like a foreign name. Yeah, I see you're waving a hand there and you got a flag. What is that, the Poland flag? Italy? I can't tell. You keep countries going, brother. Mark, thanks. You keep countries going, brother. Respect. I drive a 7.5 ton, nothing like you're running through. Yeah. You know, and I've done some videos on stuff. When I was younger, 21 years old, I mean, Michigan specials were the 8-axle trailers in the truck. So I had 11 axles, and we'd scale out on our heaviest time of the year. We'd scale at 200,000 pounds. Did gravel trains. I did RGNs, hauling cat equipment to you know, other flatbed stuff to haul for job sites, for family on our own job sites. I've gotten into the late 90s, but when I came back this last, going on 11 years this September, I've been back since I got laid off in healthcare. And why did I go back into healthcare? And we'll grab that real quick. But the last 11 years, I've been just doing freight, and I've done some flatbed, Conestoga flatbed, and reefer in the last 11 years. But nah, I just had a brain fart. What was I going to talk about? Oh, why didn't I go back into healthcare? When I got laid off, I could have went. Well, here's the thing. When I got laid off, my base pay was $42,000 a year in 2013 and 14 at the 2 different facilities I was at. I was at a hospital, then I was at a private practice. That said, my wife and I, we were going to, when my son graduated in 2015, our plans were is I was going to go back to chiropractic school and finish, but then she endured health issues that left her for nearly a year in a wheelchair and a walker. So we have slowly, as a $6 million man, slowly rebuilding her. But she's just had a bunch of ongoing medical compounding issues that see what the plan was is we're going to go back. I was going to do some side work as a massage therapist, and because I was a licensed massage therapist because we had our own sports rehab clinic, but she was going to work full time and support us while I did classes and finished up, and then she was going to do side classes to be a medical biller, and then we were going to rock and roll the practice together. And it all dissolved by 20. When did that go? 2012, the end of 2012 into 2013, when she was down and out. So once I got laid off the second job, I kind of looked at her and said, your medical bills are racking up. My student loan needs to be paid. And if I don't pay those, I said, we're going to be homeless. So I still kept my CDL for the 14 years I was in healthcare. So I put some applications in, and lo and behold, these guys I'm working for right now were the only ones that called me, gave me an interview, and hired me. Snyder and JB said, you've been out of the game for a while. Why don't you go back to truck driving school and get refreshed and then come call us? I'm like, F you guys. I said, you're like the bottom of the barrel of shitbox companies to work for. So I just needed to get my foot in the door to get a paycheck rolling in. So these guys have treated me good. I can't say anything bad about anybody that I've been with these guys going on 10 years. And all the ladies that are running this company right now is being run by all women, owned by Mr. Potter, but, well, gave out the name there, but the name of the gentleman. But all the girls are running the office now. They're, top down. It's all female run. I got no problem with that. And then, of course, I've got great bosses. Never got any pushback. I've got more pushback working in healthcare than I do driving truck. It used to be in the day, they would run the living tar out of you, run an extra logbook, or, we don't care about the logbook, just run in the late 90s there. But here they're like, no, we're playing it safe. We want you to be safe, and we also want you to have some home time, and they care. So it's few companies that do that, but it's a private fleet. We are a private fleet. We haul only our own materials. We don't backhaul outside of our own entities. Now I do pick up some backhauls, but they're for us to bring back to the yard and be distributed back out. So let me check the chat here. Without men like you, nothing would get done. Like I said, just respect. No, I appreciate it, Mark. Yeah, it's men like this need to be appreciated. Yeah, and I think we all just got to do our part out here. If everybody, it's kind of like if everybody picked up a rapper on the ground here and there, the country wouldn't be so bad. But it's like there's a small few that do so much, that's got to do a lot for so many, and a lot of people have just, I want to say the last two generations, the latter millennials and the Gen Zs, they've come into an age where you've got all this instant gratification with these smartphones and computers and that. They don't understand patience for, things that take time to evolve and develop. And it's gotten to be, where if they're not getting, like if you don't respond to a text right away, oh my God, they're losing their bananas on that. And it's like, dude, I used to have to stop the truck. There was times like I never bothered when I was married previously. You stop the truck and you pay phone. We paid for a 1-800 number. You actually could do that. Pay for a 1-800 number to be hooked to your landline at home, and I would just call because it'd be cheaper than calling collect or having a pocket full of money to pay in a payphone. And I'd stop and use payphones at truck stops. Truck stops would just have a wall of payphones. Some of them would have the booths. You could sit inside and have privacy. Others, you're standing elbow to elbow with another guy talking to your family, having discussions, family discussions. But that's the way it was back then. And that meant, you had to stop the truck, park it, get out, go in the truck stop, make phone calls. You didn't have the luxury of just grabbing the phone, putting the headset on, hitting the button, and calling the wife. To go back and have that way of life, these people have gotten so programmed into all this technology. For me, I know when I walk away from driving, I told the wife it's going to take me probably half a year to get deprogrammed from running this kind of lifestyle out here, when I can just be home, like wake up Monday morning at a normal schedule, and Monday through Friday being home instead of being gone. And I'm sure it's I told her, I said, I'd have to get deprogrammed. It usually takes me, if I'm home for 3 days, usually the first day I'm having to adjust. So I'm really sluggish, and it's usually day 2 and 3 I can get going and get motivated around the house and get things done. But it's hard because you're out here. It's your schedule is never the same. It's fluctuating up and down, and what time you're going to start, what time you're going to finish, and you're never in the same town. You're always in a different town all the time. So that's the adjustment. And the thing of it is I sleep 4 or 5 nights a week in the truck, 1 or 2 nights at home, and then we got our other property. So then I was down there Friday night because I went down, and I've got detailing. Excuse me, folks. I've got a detailing business. I've got a handful of detailing jobs I have to get done between now and Labor Day weekend, because I took Labor Day week off because I've got to take a couple days at home, and I got to put siding and windows on my house. Whether I'm going to have help or not, but it may be just me and my wife just doing it ourselves. It's hard to find anyone that's got the skill sets that know how to run a miter saw, a rip saw, tape measure, changing windows out, sealing them up. I mean, I don't know. I was a teenage kid, like 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. I was following the lady that was my nanny when my mom had her businesses, and I'd follow her husband around. He bought and flipped houses in the 1970s. He would buy houses, fix them up, and flip them. I followed him around, putting shingles up, drip edges, to hanging sheetrock and sound insulation. He goes, it was funny. He always said, you always want to put sound insulation in the bathroom, because you never know when the old man's going to come home all 3 sheets in the wind and puking his guts out. No one in the house wants to hear that shit. So, that's the way he was. But I learned a lot from that man. Welding, fabricating, building houses, just life in general. He was a good guy. My wife got to meet him a few months before he passed away, so I was happy for that, at least. So what do we got going on in here, folks? Let me just check the chat. In the UK, we are classed as scum. We have no respect. We work long hours and are pushed too much. That's the same here in America, Mark. That's the same thing here. There was a discussion. I sent a video to my wife on this. Who was it? Elite Podcast. That's the other one. It's called Redneck News now on YouTube. He did 10 things that, about trucking that is driving people, experienced seasoned drivers and even new drivers, to just turn around and walk away from it. But shippers and receivers here in America treat drivers as second-class citizens. During COVID, they wouldn't even let you use the bathroom. They'd have you stand outside or just in the door. If they gave you facilities, it would be some plastic porta-john over in the corner of the parking lot. Or, no, we don't have facilities. So guys are either peeing in the bottles or getting their poop bucket out and crapping in their truck, in the bucket with a trash bag in there and some kitty litter. But, he said, it's just, we get treated like crap still. And yet, we're still dogged if you're late for a delivery or a pickup. Accidents, You know, it's always the truck driver's fault for everything negatively, but never anything good about a truck driver out here. Never giving them props or anything. Never saying, you know, hey, this guy stopped this truck and helped this family out with a flat tire. And I don't know what's going on out here in the parking lot, but this is 2 semi trucks now that have just come through doing about 20 miles an hour racing across the Catskills here. This is ridiculous. So yes, I don't put up with it anymore. My customers for this company, they are our lifeline. So therefore, I work with them. I talk to them. Dude, I've had customers say, hey, you know where the kitchen is in our building? Go make yourself a sandwich, take a break before you take off or something. I've got the greatest customers. But when I've done for other companies, I've had shippers and receivers, you know, and I had one guy piss me off back in the 90s. Oh, in Columbia, Missouri. Yes. I'm going back about 30 years. 28 years. And he said, yeah, just sit there in the dock, driver, I'll get to you, maybe tomorrow. I'm like, dude, you're loading me right now. I said, I'm not sitting here no 2 or 14 hours. And he wanted to proceed there. I remember he started arguing with me. I got out and I started rolling the dollies down on the hook, and I said, I'm going to leave the trailer here. You call the company and have them send someone out to come pick it up. And I said, I'm going up the road to get another trailer. I got to get a load. I got to go make money. And he called our company. A company was, we had Qualcomm then, and big like Weingard satellite dishes on the back of the sleeper. They were sending me messages, hey, call us. I called them, and they're like, dude, what's going on? They said, there's some long-haired guy out here. That's back when I had hair. And he's dropping the trailer saying, F you. Call the company and get another truck to come pick the trailer up. They go, oh, that's Rod. So they said, we'll throw in some money in your check. Just sit there and appease this guy. And I wouldn't take anything like less than $200 back then. I'm like, dude, if you're going to make me sit around and not spin my wheels, I said, because that was my outlaw days. We'd run 4,500 miles in 5 days, but we either ran the logbook or there's times I wouldn't even pick the logbook up for 2 days. I don't know where the hell I'm at. I just go. They just tell me where to go. I look on the map. All right, A to B, got to go. And you remember back then with the outlaw days, speed limits are 55 miles an hour compared to 70, 75 now. 55, and man, the cops, give them a reason. Go 58. That's a reason to pull you over, driver. What are you doing today? You're speeding. I was doing 58. Really? And I've had them pull me over for 60 in a 55 and start screwing with me. I remember the one guy, he pulled me over in Illinois, 60 and a 55. He jumped up there and he goes, where's the fire, son? I said, well, you just put it out. I said, I'm trying to get up here to Chicago, and I was coming up Illinois, what's the one side there? 55. I was coming up 55. Drove me nuts. Just, Missouri, Illinois, Ohio. I don't know what it is, too, with these Midwest states with the split speed limit. Why we gotta have that, I don't know, but why is everyone on the west of the Mississippi, hey man, 70, 75, 80 miles an hour? And North Dakota just posted, their interstates are all, they reposted them, 80 miles an hour. And then here we come to the hoity-toity, oh, I'm Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, it's like, oh, we gotta have this taper down. The Poindexters run in those states, they gotta, well, we can only go this fast. No, dude, get in with the show with the rest of the states, It's like, we gotta travel, we gotta go. Time is money. And if you're someone like Prime, and I passed every Prime out there, I don't think I've ever had a Prime truck pass me, even when I'm going loaded up a hill. It's like, how can you guys make money? going 63 governed miles an hour. Dear Lord, I just like companies like that you don't work for. Same with Swift. Well, the chat's really hopping tonight. What do we got here? Respect back to you, Mark. Yeah, Mark, hey, respect to you, man, for being in the UK and doing what you're doing there, brother. What kind of truck are you running there in the UK, Mark? Are you running a MAN or a Scania, or what are you running out there? I'm just curious, and I'd like to, hold it. You said, yeah, you were at Iowa 80, weren't you? Or was that Wisconsin Trucker? That was Wisconsin Trucker. Mark, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. From the UK, respect, yeah. In the UK, are you running a MAN, M-A-N-N, or are you running a Scania truck? I'm just curious because they're trying to get Scania over here. I would be very curious, let alone drive one of those. They look comfortable and very nice, very powerful motors. Nice trucks. Let's see. Johnny Mike, $900 to ship my truck from Orlando to New Hampshire. Good deal, or, well, what truck are we talking about? Semi truck or a pickup truck? If it's a semi truck, I'd say it's a good deal. If it's a pickup truck, I'd probably say that's still a good deal right now. Because what are you looking at? How many miles is that? New Hampshire to Orlando. What are you looking at? About 900 miles, or are they getting about $1 a mile or so? And they're probably putting it on. I'm only 31 and I get it. It's not right. Yep. Yeah, we do loads and get nothing for it, but shitty pay. Without drivers, the country would come to a stop. Yeah, it's the same here, and they saw that during COVID. I'm sure over where you're at there in the UK, but also here, all of a sudden, we're the highway heroes during COVID. But after that, after everyone's gotten their Amazon Taiwanese plastic junk sent to their house, now it's like, well, just dirty truckers again. Johnny Mike, I would say $900. I just need to know a little bit more of what you're having hauled there, my friend. Pickup. Okay, I see it down here. It just popped in. A pickup truck for $900. How many miles is that from A to B where you're having it brought to? And I could give you a quick tell, because we did have, my wife and I had a Chevy Traverse shipped to our place from, I want to say, around the Indianapolis, south of Indianapolis. Southern Indianapolis. What was that, Laura? That was $500, $550, $500. The guy threw it on with another vehicle. He could haul like 3 vehicles or something. But yeah, and that was only like a 5.5 hour drive. So he charged us, and that was back in what, 2018, 19? Yeah, 2018. So if you're going to get $900 to have shipped from Orlando to there, it almost, I'd weigh on the side, that's probably a decent deal. And for what you're having done. Mr. Show's Cemetery. Regional is the best, especially being paid by the hour. Yeah, and that's what we are. I'm a regional driver, so I cover just like Southern PA, Western Maryland, about half of Virginia, maybe 2/3, and then all of West Virginia and half of Kentucky. So that's the area I work in. My deliveries just depend on the orders that are generated each week that get placed on my truck and where I go. But I get paid by the hour, overtime after 40. I get other perks and all that jazz. But yeah, regional is definitely the way to go. I wouldn't do coast to coast anymore. I mean, I know a lot of the foreign actors that are here try to go for that long haul distance, and a lot of these guys are living out of their trucks. I'm watching this guy back up. If you guys want let me know. I'll turn you guys around. We can just kind of watch some of the shit show going on because it's getting to be evening time, so everyone's going to start racing into the truck stop to find parking, and then it's going to be the horn honking, racing through here. Nice hat, brother. Brad Wilson. Hey, thank you, Brad. I appreciate it. Where are you from? I am in Virginia right now, but I reside in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And so I born and raised, and my wife too, that's in as a moderator in the chat. We are originally from the Midland, Michigan area, home of world headquartered Dow Chemical. So hey, great cancer-causing agent chemical plant. So, but we moved over in 2014. We came over to Grand Rapids after 2 layoffs, and now really liking it over there. Different mindset. So definitely a different mindset, and I want to say people that have stronger work ethics. So let's see, what else am I missing here? Man, you guys are really chiming it up. Let's see what else we got. What kind of truck do you drive? I've always loved the Kenworth W9. Hey, that guy, you nailed it for me. And Laura, give him props. That's my favorite truck of all time, and it started with the TV show Moving On from the mid '70s. They had a W900 A model. The first year was the first season. It was a 2-season run, and it was the 903 Cummins V8. That was the first diesel engine I ever overhauled. Was a 903 Cummins turbo V8 out of an International TranStar. So W900 is near and dear. This is their last year run with it. They're doing the legacy run for the counting down 1,000 W900s, and you get them numbered too. This is going to be 2025's last year for the W900. I think they're going to just fall back on the W990s right now. It's probably why they weaned us into the W990s. But W900, my friend, and then right second to that would be your 359, 379s, 389 Peterbilts. I also like BJ and the Bear, but the TV show BJ and the Bear, but the cab over, the K100, what do they call those? The K123, the Aerodynes. So always been a fan of the Kenworths first and foremost, Peterbilt second for me. So weird, but yeah, that's the way it is for me. Washington, Idaho, Montana, and Oregon. Hey, it's not a bad run, but Mr. Show Cemetery, I gotta ask, how's the winters? How is the winters? Because sometimes they'll have me go up to the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, and where the top of the mirrors are the snowbanks from the parking lots, and trying to get out into the main streets, you're literally parked in the middle of the road trying to see traffic. It is hard because then the parking lots narrow up as they're trying to move the snow, and then the snow gets up like 7 to 8 foot tall. So how's the winters out there with that, Mr. Show Cemetery? No way I'm in Detroit and I go to CMU. Hey, no way I'm in Detroit and I go to CMU. Brad Wilson, I actually just did an internship in Midland. Did you now? Hey, cool for you, Brad. And well, hell yeah, brother. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I graduated from CMU in 2005. Exercise physiology. I had to get a bachelor's degree of science to go and finish chiropractic school, because for me to take the boards, if I was to go to like Florida, California, anything, I had to take all 4 parts 1 through 4 for the national boards for chiropractic. And so to have that, some states required that you had to have a BS degree before you entered the chiropractic program. You couldn't be doing your bachelor's degree and doing chiropractic at the same time. So yeah, I did that. And then I used that degree and I worked in the cath lab between Covenant and Saginaw. The only hospital I didn't work at was Midland Hospital, but I worked at Covenant, Baymed, then St. Mary's in Saginaw, and St. Mary's let us go, and then I did private practice for 10 months, and then here I am in the semi. And while I was working in the hospital, because it wasn't the greatest money, I also worked because I was also a welder, fabricator, and a diesel mechanic. I do have an associate's degree in heavy truck diesel mechanics from 86 through 88. And I got that through Mid-Michigan Community College in Harrison, Michigan. And I have my my state license through Michigan, my master mechanics license, since 1989, and it's still active to this day. I used that degree, or that license, and all that, and I worked for the county as seasonal work while I was either trucking or I was working in the hospital setting. They always Midland County always invited me out, and I always worked hand in hand with their mechanic. And so I did either equipment moving, I was a welder, fabricator, mechanic, or equipment operator, because I grew up around a lot of farming equipment and construction. So a lot of cat loaders, dozers, and excavators, which you can see if you go back into some of my videos. You can see, and I'll try to find that and put that link down in the description later. But you can see all the equipment I've operated. Actually, there is pictures of me. I've got in one of my videos a picture of me in a 950 cat loading my 48-foot walk-in floor trailer full of tree. We went in and land development. We clear land and use a big tub grinder and grind up all the trees and brush, and then we take the grindings out to power plants, and they would burn it to produce electricity. So yeah, I would you had to load your own trailers. In gravel trains, you had to load your own trailer with an excavator most of the time. So yeah, so around a lot of that. I'm a big Caterpillar man. Cat engines, Caterpillar equipment. And farming wise, I worked while I was in diesel school. I worked at an Alice Chandler's Gleaner dealer in the late 80s, or in the 80s, or while I was in school. So I worked on a lot of Alice Chandlers and worked on a lot of Gleaner combines. And I worked for Kaiser Farms there out of the Auburn area for a couple seasons, and they had all Minneapolis Molines. So I did a lot of, and then of course my mom's side, they were all dairy farmers. So we had, I think they had Gleaners, they had Fords, and Alice Chandlers. So, you know, I've been around a lot of this stuff. And then of course, let's see, let me catch up on this. Ain't no way. Well, hell yeah, brother. Yeah, and you're doing your internship. What's your specialty going to be, Brad, when you finish up there at CMU? Dash on the 359. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, there was actually, where was I at? Last night I was at the TA truck stop, Mineral Wells, West Virginia. There was a dude that backed up next to me with an east end dump, 40-foot end dump. And when he opened the door, it was a 359. It's kind of hard to tell at times for me, because he had, you know, you could tell it was repainted and all that. But as soon as he opened the door, you could see the 359 Corvette rounded dash on there. And I said, oh, 359. So, yeah. Winter socks, Mr. Show 7. Yeah, I know. And I got a friend, Tommy, over at Trucking Unfiltered, and he knows that's coming. He's got a dedicated run, Idaho and Utah, all the way out towards Illinois, Iowa, and he knows that I-80 is going to kick his ass this year. So, hi, Bobby, Brad. That's sick. It really is a small world. Have a good one and fire up chips. Yeah, hey, thanks, Brad. And stop back again, man. I appreciate it. And if you see this later, Bobby, we're having a cool moment. And calm down. Make threats. What was the threats? I guess I missed that one, guys. I've been sitting here talking. In the U.S., he drives in many states. So who went crazy on the Permanent ban won't ensure if live video does not end in the next 5 minutes. Huh. Alright. Permanent ban. I wonder why. I put Bobby in a 30-minute timeout. Good cool jets, Bobby. Alright. Well, anyhow, I'm going to cut it short. I see there's a warning in here. I don't know if it's because I'm on a time limit or I've had too many people in the chat. Now remember, we need to get to 1,000 subscribers, and then I can get unlimited people in the chat. But right now, I get a limit. There's a ceiling when you're under 1,000 subscribers in your live streams. They only allow so many people in, so I think we may have loaded it up tonight. So, anyhow, folks, I appreciate y'all being there. Brad, thanks for being here. Hey, let us know what degree you're working on and finishing up through your internship. And appreciate that. And to all of you being here, we salute you from Columbia Grade Club. We love you. All right. Appreciate that. Thanks for dropping in. We're going to jet out, and I'm going to get something to eat. I'm hungry. So stay safe. Continue educating. Knowledge is learned, not taught. And we will see you all in the next video.